summer is about a third of the way through. In terms of big video game releases, there aren't too many of those. But for those that enjoy smaller scale games, this is your month. So join us for this month's edition of Monthly Steam Deck Games, where today we're talking about releases in July that we think may or may not necessarily run on Steam Deck. But if you like this video or any other video I've made, please like, subscribe, and share with all of your friends. And in the meantime, why don't you check out Off the Console? It's a brand new podcast created by me, Gardner Bryant, and Games Revealed, with guest stars occasionally. And we're doing a special live episode on Friday, June the 6th in preparation for the Summer Games Fest. Check it out. The first game I want to talk about is a game called Mecca Break. It's a primarily online mecha PvP game, though there are PvP elements in the game too. Obviously the focal point is the PvP. Mecca Break's an interesting one to start with because technically this doesn't work on Linux, but they've explicitly whitelisted Steam Decks. As for performance on the Steam Deck, it runs at an upper 30 to 40 FPS, at least when I tried out the demo, or I guess an open beta of sorts. Mecca Break releases on July the 1st, and yes, it will be a free-to-play game. Next up is Patapon One Two Replay. It's a remaster of the first two Patapon games that were exclusive to the PSP. The licensing situation is interesting because Sony still owns the IP, but they've licensed it out to Bandai Namco, and obviously they're now publishing it on PC and PlayStation and other devices too. It's also worth mentioning that Patapon is a trilogy, and they're just releasing the first two games. What are they going to do with the third game? Just release that as a separate game? Depending on how successful this is and, how many Patapon fans there actually are, maybe, just maybe we'll get a Patapon 4 from Sony. As for running well on Steam Deck, I mean, these are old PSP games that are remastered. I don't see how this couldn't run well on Steam Deck. But I could be wrong, who knows, but I think this will run pretty well on Steam Deck. A solid 60 FPS if nothing else. Especially since, this is a rhythm game, it kinda has to. Patapon One Two Replay releases on June the 10th. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 are remakes of, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. With most of the content. From what I understand, you don't get the free roaming mode from Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 4. They did remake the first two games earlier, and that ran pretty well on Steam Deck, and I'm inclined to believe that it'll probably run well too. The first two games were always online, but they had a special mode for the Steam Deck where it would just play offline, which is super interesting. Maybe it'll be the same for this one too. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 releases on July the 10th as well. Some say Hunter x Hunter, others say Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact is a 3v3 tag team fighter based on the hit manga series that's always on hiatus. I am curious as how much of the manga will actually be in the game because the anime ended after the election arc, and the manga's been going on since, so I'm wondering if there's going to be any manga spoilers in this game. The game runs at a solid 60 FPS on Steam Deck. I mean, it kinda has to because it's a fighting game. And if you see videos of this game online, you'll see just how degenerate some of the combos are, and I love it. Anyways, Hunter x Hunter Nen Impact releases on July the 16th. I kind of vaguely remember the first Neon Abyss, but I wasn't aware that there was going to be a sequel. It looks very similar to the first game, which is not bad, and yes, I mean, it's Neon Abyss, but more of it. I could see this being a great time on Steam Deck. Will it run well though? I would imagine so, but I could see it getting kind of laggy with 4 players with crazy effects everywhere. I mean, that's just kind of how it is for roguelikes. Anyways, Neon Abyss 2 releases on July the 17th. Shadow Labyrinth's an interesting one. It's based on that one episode of Secret Level, which is kind of vaguely like Pac-Man. Now, I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of a hater when I first saw that episode, but honestly, it's actually kind of cool when you really think about it. It's vaguely like Pac-Man, but it's not really Pac-Man. It's just kind of sort of based on Pac-Man. Like, is it based on the same universe? I'm not entirely sure. But it's a Metroidvania, so I'm down. I can see this game running pretty well on Steam Deck. It doesn't look super graphically demanding to the point where it couldn't run well on Steam Deck. At least, I don't think that's the case. Could be wrong, but it's better be optimistic, right? Shadow Labyrinth releases on July the 17th. Little Fighter 2 was an original freeware game. It was a Chinese beat-em-up, and it was a lot of fun. And at the time I played it, which was like many years ago, it had a lot of depth for a beat-em-up, and they're remastering it for a new audience. See, this is the sort of game that would have been played on a keyboard, and let's be honest, Beat 'em ups on the keyboard kinda sounds awful nowadays. Now, I'm not entirely sure if the original game works on Steam Deck. I know it probably would run on Steam Deck, but I don't know if it actually does work. But in terms of pure being able to run on Steam Deck and whatnot, I have no doubts that this game could run really well on Steam Deck. That said, it has been confirmed by the developer on the Steam page that AI has been used in recreating art assets. You can certainly see it with all the character portraits right here, and I'm not really big onto that. I would have rather than kept the original portraits, to be honest. Little Fighter 2 Remastered releases on June the 18th. Chang Fallen Feathers looks really good, but it is another Souls-like, and to be honest, I'm pretty burned out on Souls-likes, to be honest. The graphics look great though. Let's be honest, you're not going to be running it at these graphical details on the Steam Deck unless you're streaming it. But I'm more interested in how they're going to differentiate themselves from every other Souls-like. It needs that gameplay sauce, and I want to know what the sauce is. The game looks great, but this is probably like max graphics or something like that. I'm willing to bet this game won't run all that well on Steam Deck, even on low settings. Chang releases on July the 23rd. Rataton's a game I've talked about during the Next Fest, and it was one of my favorite demos. It's being developed by the original developers of Patapon, but unlike Patapon, Rataton is instead a roguelike. This sort of has a knock-on effect, and the game ends up being fairly different despite having very similar mechanics. That said, the demo runs really well on Steam Deck, and so I would imagine the full game would run really well as well. Rataton releases on July the 24th. Grounded 2 is the sequel to Grounded 1, and I'm going to be honest with you, Grounded 1 did run pretty well on Steam Deck from what I understand. But given that this game runs on Unreal Engine 5, unlike the last game, and also it's just a newer game with better graphics and whatnot, I can't really imagine Grounded 2 running well on Steam Deck. It seems like it'd be a fun time, but on a regular gaming PC, or console even. In this case, I would recommend buying it on Steam and then streaming it from your own gaming desktop. Grounded 2 releases on July the 29th. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound is a game I've talked about a number of times on this channel. It's a brand new 2D Ninja Gaiden, the likes of which we haven't seen since like the Super Nintendo era. But we're getting this alongside Ninja Gaiden 4, and let me tell you, I've played the demo and it is a lot of fun. The demo ran great on Steam Deck, and it's a great fit for the Steam Deck. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound releases on July the 31st. July doesn't look like it has many major releases this month. Honestly, it's kind of light on notable releases, to be honest. But there are a lot of games that I'm personally excited for, Ninja Gaiden Ragebound being one of them. I also find it super interesting that we're getting a remaster of Patapon as well as a spiritual successor to Patapon in the same month, no less. All in all, we're about a third of the way through summer, and while the temperatures are really hot outside, I suspect next month is where games start to heat up. If you like this video, please press the like button and check out our other videos, and if you like those other videos as well, be sure to press the subscribe button and share the good gospel of high-tech lowlife with your friends. Furthermore, we have a community Discord for enlightened individuals such as you. And if you wish to further support high-tech lowlife, be sure to check out our Patreon page. Links in the description.